at the dog because he's so cute.
Say hi. Say hi to Jake.
Say hi. He does not want to be on.
No, he does not want to sit still.
Can I have a goodbye kiss? Or no? Well.
Oh, you're out of here?
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so last time I said that I would read a children's book while we wait for people to show up. So, hi, Jake. So I will read one of my original children's stories while we wait.
Yeah, we're going to wait for a few people to sign on first. So Kaylie's, instead of reading chapter 2 of Convergence just yet, she's going to read one of her stories that she's written, or children's stories that she's written.
Which one should I read? Should we let the comments decide?
I don't know. The one person watching can comment and
One person watching. Do you want me to read The Life of a Sandbox Toy, Be Brave, Rosie, or The White Crayon?
I don't know. Viewer, do you want to comment?
If not, I'll just pick.
You can just pick one. So what are the names? What are the 2 stories again?
3. There's 3 stories.
3.
The Life of a Sandbox Toy. Be Brave, Rosie. Or The White Crayon.
Oh, is it Grandma Debbie watching?
Hi, Grandma.
Okay, Grandma Debbie, pick one of those 3 stories. The life.
Sandbox Toy one?
No, I'm. Hello, Amy. Thanks for joining. Names of them again, so Grandma Debbie can hear.
The Life of a Sandbox Toy, Be Brave, Rosie, or The White Crayon.
Okay, Grandma says be brave.
Okay.
Welcome, Mr. Tahir. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but welcome. Kaylee's going to read chapter 2 of her novel Convergence. She read chapter 1 last night, but we're going to wait for a few people to sign on, so she's going to read her children's story that she wrote called Be Brave, Rosie. So we're going to start with that.
Okay. Rosie couldn't go anywhere without her special toy, Teddy. Teddy helped her feel brave. With Teddy, she felt like she could do anything. But she never put him down. She always had to have Teddy with her, and she felt she couldn't do anything without him. But one day, Rosie woke up to see that Teddy was nowhere to be found. "Mommy, Teddy's missing!" Rosie cried. "All right, calm down. I'm making dinner, so why don't you go look for him?" her mom said. "By myself?" Rosie stammered. "Yes, I'm busy, but I know you can do it." Rosie gulped. She'd never done anything by herself before. She started searching the house for Teddy. He wasn't in her room. He wasn't in the living room. He wasn't in her brother's room. The only place left was the basement. Rosie shivered at the thought. She hated the basement. It was full of spiders, creepy crawly bugs that made sticky webs. Rosie did not like spiders. But she had to find Teddy. She had to be brave. So she took a deep breath and started her journey downstairs. Her hands shook as she searched. She jumped away from a big spiderweb and carefully felt her way through the darkness. But she was still scared. Normally she would squeeze Teddy tight to feel better, but Teddy wasn't there. Rosie sniffled and shook her head. What if she never found him? "No, I have to find him," she said to herself. She was a big girl now, and she could be brave without Teddy. So she stood up tall and marched through the basement, holding her head high. She peeked her head down the hallway, and there, in the very back corner, was Teddy! Rosie picked him up and spun him around. "Guess what, Teddy? I searched for you all by myself. I was scared, but I did it. I even searched the whole basement." Rosie hugged Teddy tight to her chest. She had done it. She had learned to be brave even without Teddy. Now she knew that even though she loved him, she didn't need to be holding him to be brave. But maybe she would hold on just a bit longer.
Yay, that was Be Brave, Rosie. Where's Rosie?
We don't need to show.
Why not?
Because It's unnecessary.
What? Okay. She has a teddy bear named Rosie. Okay. Still the same amount of people on. Not as many tonight,
That's all right.
but that's okay. If you want to jump into your novel, you can give people like a quick synopsis of what the first chapter was, if they forgot.
All right. A brief summary of chapter 1 is Lily, the main character, had a dream about a boy named Titus. This boy looked very similar to her for some reason, and neither of them know why. And when she woke up from her dream, her head and her neck were starting to hurt really bad. And she ended up passing out, and her older brother came to try to help her, but he came too late. And their neighbor, Pat, came in and told them not to call anyone, like not to call the hospital or anything, because he knew what was happening. He explained that she was a mage and had magical abilities, and the pain was her magic waking up for the first time. So, with that,
let's get into chapter 2 of Convergence.
So, chapter 2 starts right after she has passed out. So, when I woke up, my whole body was throbbing, but the burning had stopped. I rubbed the sleep from my eyes, but when I opened them, I saw our weird neighbor Pat sitting across from me in my room. He didn't have his usual hoodie and hat, so I could see his very strange haircut. The top of his hair was shorter, but the underlayer was much longer, falling about halfway down his neck. But even weirder than that were his tattoos. Strange gray lines all over his arms and face. Pat, I mumbled. Good morning, Lily, he said with a gentle smile. And if you don't mind, call me Ammon. Pat was only a temporary name. Ammon? I questioned. Okay, I'm confused. That's all right. This is a lot to take in. We have much to discuss, but for now, you need to calmly go look in a mirror, then come back to me, and feel free to ask me any questions you wish. I was totally lost, but I did what I was told, only because I was curious to see what he meant. When I saw it, I was horrified by the sight of my own face. I barely recognized myself. My forehead had thick white lines on it, like vines were growing on me. They came together into a shape that resembled an eye with an oval and a dot in the center. Through my hair, I could see that the lines continued across my head, down my neck, across my chest, and all the way down to my fingertips. They looked almost exactly like Amon's tattoos, but his were darker and made of slightly different patterns. I tried to rub them off with soap and water, but they wouldn't budge. I scrubbed until my skin was raw. Ammon, he did this. I marched back into my room to yell at him, demand he remove them, or maybe even punch him. But the moment I stepped into my room, I froze. I just couldn't get the words to come out. Ammon raised his eyebrows, signaling for me to say something. All I could get out was, "What did you do to me?" He sighed. "I didn't do anything. Those markings occurred naturally." "Tattoos don't occur naturally," I responded. "Normal tattoos don't, you're right. These are not tattoos. These are sacred markings that show your power." "What power?" "You are a mage. You come from an ancestry of magical people with incredible powers. Those markings on you are caused by magic flowing through you for the first time." I think he could tell by my very confused expression that I needed more information. So, he went on to explain how I was a mind mage, and how mages have had an extra part of their brain called the core that produces magic. Ties are nerve-like things that carry the magic from the core to the rest of the body. I learned there were two types of mages, mind mages and body mages. Mind mages had multiple different powers, telekinesis, telepathy, and illusions. Body mages had enhanced senses, healing, and enhanced physical ability. Many mages only specialize in one or two of their magic abilities, he elaborated. Does that all make sense? Sure, I lied. But how am I a mage? I've never seen any people like that around here but you, apparently. Us magical beings have lived in sanctuaries for over 1,000 years. I came here to make sure our secret wasn't revealed once you went through your triggering. I wanted to tell him that didn't explain how I got here, but I didn't want to press him more. I know you are still confused and probably have more questions. I will answer all that I can at some point, but I think you have enough information to understand what I'm about to tell you, and your parents will want to hear as well. My heart rate picked up. What did he want to tell me? Did I mess something up? Was I in danger? Your parents are waiting for you in your living room. I will explain there. He slowly pushed himself up and off the bed, leaning on his cane. I always wondered what happened to him that caused him to need a cane, but I never asked. He walked out of my room and I followed him, my mind brimming with questions. Ammon sat me down on the couch with my family. Peter, you might want to leave. I don't know if you should hear this. This is very private information for Lily, Ammon mentioned, making me even more nervous. Peter looked at me with worry-filled eyes. Is it bad? He asked. Ammon stayed silent. Peter looked at me. What do you think, Lily? Do you want me to go? I folded my arms and narrowed my eyes at Ammon. I don't care if it's personal. Peter can hear it. Ammon shook his head. All right, but this is complicated, and I don't want to have to explain it twice. This is not the most fun story to tell. Peter nodded and sat down by me. Ammon stood in front of us and began his story. As you know, I come from one of the mage's hidden sanctuaries. The one where I am from is called Frosthaven. It lies in the center of Greenland where there are no humans to disturb us. That is where Lily was born. My eyes widened. Greenland? I was from Greenland? I knew that I was adopted, but I never knew where I was born or who my birth parents were. Never in my wildest dreams would I have ever thought I was from a magical world in Greenland. Her parents' names were Analea and Raymond. Both were incredibly powerful mind mages, highly sought after by many to be mentors. But there were two people who wanted them for something else. Their names are Seraphis and Darian. They wanted them for an illegal act we call breeding. It's when you take two very powerful mages and force them to have a child to make that child very powerful as well. Their idea was even worse. To understand what exactly he did, here is a little background on magic. Magic is energy. Once you go through the triggering, the core is constantly producing that energy. As you grow older, it will produce less and less energy as the body naturally slows down. By the time you die, your core has stopped producing magic. When you die early of unnatural causes, the core still has magic in it. Under normal circumstances, that magic simply dissipates. But there's a window of time where the magic lingers in the core. That's where Seraphis and Darian's plan comes in. There's a very dark process called soul harvesting. That is when a very powerful mind mage uses telekinesis to remove the magic from a person who has just been killed and put it into someone else. So they decided to combine breeding and soul harvesting to create the ultimate weapon. I didn't like the way Amon looked at me when he said weapon. He looked away and continued. He had Lily's parents breed together, and they ended up having twins. Twins? I had a twin? I tried to silence the questions in my head so I could focus on Ammon. Once they gave birth, Darian killed their parents. My mom gasped and then grabbed my hand. I could feel her quickened heartbeat through her wrist. Once they were dead, they used another powerful mind mage to remove the parents' magic and split it evenly between the twins. Someone was willing to kill my parents so that he could steal their magic to make me and my twin a weapon? My legs started bouncing and I couldn't stop the flow of thoughts. I didn't want to be some super powerful mage. I just wanted to be a normal kid. Then again, I don't think I was ever normal, even before the triggering. Lily, are you all right? Ammon asked. I started fidgeting with my hoodie strings. Yes. I just learned that someone killed my parents just to make a powerful kid. Oh, and I have a twin. And I'm a magical being from another world. No, I'm not okay. Why didn't he just put it into himself? That's not possible. Magic is too personal to the user. When the triggering happens, the core links to the brain. Your personality, or some would say your soul, and your magic link together and basically make a shield around themselves so no new magic can be added. In babies, they don't have that shield yet, so there's enough room to add more magic. And I'm so sorry that Seraphis did that to you two. It's a horrible practice and is illegal, but some people refuse to listen. Can we get back to the part where you said Seraphis was creating a weapon? Peter questioned. Ammon sighed. Right. Seraphis's purpose for doing this to you was to create powerful kids under his control. With kids, if they grow up with you, usually they will adopt whatever you teach them. That brings us to the reason why you are not with your twin brother right now. I had learned of Seraphis's plan to create you and knew I needed to save you both. Sadly, in my attempt to save you two, I was caught. I managed to get you to one of my friends, but as I was handing your brother off, Seraphis grabbed him from my hands before my friends could. Your rescuer was able to get away, but in the chaos, I was unable to save your brother, Titus. My eyes widened and stopped him before he could say more. Titus? Is he my twin? Amon looked confused. Yes. Why? I closed my eyes, trying to remember the dream I had the night before. I had a dream about him. I thought he was just made up in my head, but I think it was him. He looked a lot like me. Amon's eyes lit up with excitement. That's amazing! When did you have this dream? The night that my triggering happened. Incredible. Somehow you must have connected when you had your triggering. I guess so. Is he okay though? Being raised by Seraphis was probably terrible, I realized. Yes, he is a very strong-willed boy, and a quite positive one. In the few times I've managed to speak with him, he seems to be doing well. I can't tell him the truth of his past yet, because he is under the control of his enemies. They would be able to read his mind and know he knows the truth. So how are they weapons, though? Why did Seraphis need weapons? Peter asked. Now he was the one bouncing his leg impatiently. Seraphis does not like that the mages are in hiding. He believes that mages should be in power, so he's building up a crew of allies at his beck and call to use to complete his goal, Ammon explained. Okay, all of that makes sense, but why are you telling us? Lily is safe and away from all of that, my mom said, her concern evident in her shaking voice. She's not safe. Seraphis knows that Titus's twin is out there somewhere, and of the age to have the triggering. He will not rest until he finds her. He wants her on his side. Ammon's expression shifted, his eyes becoming dark and serious. I have come to ask you to join the right side, Lily, to be a force against Seraphis, not beside him. I shook my head. I can't. I know nothing about any of this. Isn't there someone else you can ask that isn't a 16-year-old kid? I gestured to myself. I'm in the process of gathering all the allies I can, but if you are having visions of Titus and he's having visions of you, Seraphis will be able to find you. I cannot guarantee that you'll be safe, but if you come with me, I will be able to teach you about your gifts, and you will be able to help so many people. I will not force you to come with me. I understand how daunting this can seem, but don't say no right away. Think about all your options. Will you give us a few days to think about this? This is a lot to process, my mom said. Of course, I will stay here for another week before I have to go back to Frosthaven. I still have to keep watch over you, but I'm afraid that Seraphis will be able to find you using your visions. Will he still know where she is if she comes with you? Peter asked. Yes, but if she's with me, I can keep a constant eye on her to make sure he doesn't take her, and he will not be able to harm any of you, Ammon replied. He sure didn't sugarcoat anything. My mom seemed to be taking this hard. Her eyes were glossy and her face was bright red. I just can't believe this would happen. Who would ever think of doing something like that? No one, my dad grumbled, finally speaking a word after this whole thing. This is all fake and made up by this lunatic. I let you tell your little story. Now get out of my house. Ammon ran his hand down his face, and I could have sworn I heard him mumble, humans, before he sighed and looked at my dad. I've already shown you my magic. How can you still not believe me? My dad threw his hands in the air in frustration. I believe in your stupid magic. I just don't believe in the whole taking someone's magic, creating weapons, all that made-up villain garbage. This isn't a movie, Ammon. This is not made up. Believe me, I wish it was. But your daughter is in danger. I don't care if you believe me or not. This is her decision. Again, I won't force you to come, Lily, but I know when I'm not wanted, so I'll get out of your business. I will be back at this time next week. So whatever happens, I need to know your decision by then. Emin grabbed his hat and hoodie and put them back on. It was good to speak with you all. Good day. Then he was gone. I slumped back into the couch, wanting to disappear into its familiar cushions. What do you want to do, Lily? Peter asked. I put my head in my hands. I don't know.
Dun, dun, dun.
Keep in mind, this is like the very beginning stages of these 2 chapters. I haven't gone through the full editing process or anything, so have a little grace with me. But
Okay, speaking of Grace, Grace Williams is on here and giving us a ton of hearts and likes.
hearts back.
And Addie says, so great. Addie from Missouri. I remembered this time.
Good job,
You live in Missouri.
Hi, Addie.
And Grandma says, you are so talented and so imaginable.
Oh, thanks.
Skittles says you are adorable. And Grace is just getting our hearts, our likes up there. That's crazy. Thank you, Grace. And I'm just a random guy says hello there.
Hello, I'm just a random guy.
You signed on and missed Kaylie reading her novel. Well, now there's 8 people on. Finally, we get a good amount of people on here. But Grandma Debbie's our stalwart. She stayed the whole time and listened to the whole story. So yeah, she's not going to read the next chapters for a little bit. She does have to work on the other chapters. How many chapters do you have?
23.
23 chapters for a 15-year-old girl writing.
Go through a rigorous editing process.
Yes, we need an actual editor.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Grace says, "Oh, I miss you guys."
Aw, I miss you too.
So Kaylie's going to go through some rewrites and some editing. Maybe we'll have to find an editor or something and get her book edited, and then maybe she'll come on a little bit later and read another chapter.
The first and second chapters so you can see what they've become.
Reread them. Oh, wow. Grandma Debbie's has a bunch of like wow faces. I think that's what those are.
Probably.
You have 610 likes.
Oh my.
All from Grace. Thank you.
Yes,
You're amazing.
Grace.
She's just like spamming the likes. Oh, we got a bunch of hearts on the YouTube feed. I don't know who from, but
thanks, guys.
Anything else you want to talk about or say about your books?
Projected release date is 2025, probably the winter.
Okay, yep, she wants to get this book published by the end of the year. So that means me, as in Dad, needs to figure out how to make that happen. So we'll figure it out. We actually have a really good friend of ours who's a published author. His name is Stephen Bull.
Stephen Bowles.
Yep, Stephen Bowles. He's the man. Jed and the Junkyard War. If you want a really cool book to read,
Fire book series.
Go check that out. And it's actually 3 parts or 2 parts. I can't remember. Anyway, he's actually been published with Disney. And it's a really great book, so you should go check that out. Grandma Debbie says, love you.
Love you, Grandma.
So,
I think that is all.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you guys for joining and listening to Kaylie read her story. And Grace, you're almost to 1,000. Come on.
So close.
Just let's get up there to 1,000 likes before we sign off. We're at 952.
Oh boy.
Okay, we're almost there.
Would it help if I brought the dog? Maybe he's waiting outside the door. Let's see.
Oh, Jake? Oh, I think he went downstairs. We get a Jake.
Jacob.
Now you can just get a picture of her cool swingy chair. Sweet. Great. Thanks, Grace. We're at 1.1 thousand likes. Wow.
I brought the doggy.
Jake will definitely get some likes. For who's ever left here for the end of her read through.
I read a little guy and a big guy followed him.
Yep. We got little Jake on her lap, and
Whee!
that's Charlie. Say hi, Charlie. It's okay. He was scared of the tripod.
Oh, is it scary?
Is that a scary tripod?
Oh, you gotta run away.
All right.
That's all. Bye.
Okay. Thanks for joining, everybody. See ya.
Bye.